Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Saturday Morning Comic Review. I'm your host, Dylan Wallace. Today, we got a great issue for you guys. We have 10 books that we're going to review, all pulls from this week, which is great. Whole bunch of stuff across the gamut, right? We have Marvel, we have DC, we have some Image, so on and so forth. So super excited about what we have for today. But before we start that, we'll get into the polls. We'll get into the polls of what we have for next week. But there is some news on the MCU side of things, right? So found out, I don't know if that was announced today or if it was announced yesterday, but the two Avenger movies, unfortunately, are going to be delayed. So rather than coming out in May 26 and 27, and this is for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, they're now going to be coming out in December. So it'd be December 26 for Avengers Doomsday and December 27 for the Avengers Secret Wars. So yeah, Doomsday is what they're calling it, and then Secret Wars is what they're calling the next one. So that's fine. I mean, gonna be delayed a couple months. I think the big consequence here is that the next Spider-Man movie is actually now going to technically come out before the next Avengers movie. So that just changes it as far as like shifting the continuity there. But overall, I don't think that's that big of a deal. I mean, kind of is what it is. So if you had a timer all set up, make sure that you push that back an additional couple of months until December. And I'm excited for both of those movies kind of overall. Been a lot of hype, obviously, with Robert Downey Jr. Some people love it, some people hate it. It just kind of depends. I have plenty of faith in the MCU. I think they have more hits than they have misses, and even the misses end up being like really phenomenal movies. And Fantastic Four is looking really good. Thunderbolts has gotten excellent reviews moving forward. I think the critics were kind of like meh, but the fans seem to be really into it. I haven't seen it myself. Really just waiting for Disney Plus on that one. So for those that don't know, I got two pretty young kids, so it's tough for the wife and I to just get out on a regular date night, let alone trying to convince her to want to go out to see an MCU movie. I just don't see that happening. So it's Disney Plus for me, which is totally completely fine. This is the nerddom hobby that I get to do on a weekly basis anyways, and wouldn't have it any other way. So that's the bit of news there. We'll go into the polls, we'll go into the reviews, and then we'll go into the polls for next week, and we'll kind of wrap it up, and then we'll have Omegas and so on and so forth, all that wonderful stuff. So let's go into those polls, shall we? And if I can get my screens all set up here. We had a bunch this week. We had 17 books overall, a little higher than I'd like to be if you've been watching for a while. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. But I'd like it to be more towards like the 10, maybe 12, no more than 15 range. I think that's kind of a sweet spot. I try to review the 10 per week, assuming I'm able to get to the shop on a Wednesday or Thursday. I can easily get through all those, have it all reviewed, ready to go for Saturday, and then maybe that leaves a couple extra for the Omega run, which is like a backlog edition of the show. So doing it that way I think would probably make the most sense. So with that, the previews I've been tapering back. When June comes out, I'll probably do the same, or maybe I'll have a couple of one-shots here and there, or things I already mentally committed to of like, for sure, we're going to jump into those. But I think kind of overall, we'll just be holding back a little bit. So give me 1 second here. I just want to turn off the air. I turned it on downstairs, but it's actually getting freezing. So hold on. Maybe I edit that out. Maybe I don't. We'll see. But we're back. So the polls, yeah. Again, we have 17 books, right? So let's just go through them real quick. All 10 books for today's review are going to be on this poll list. I'll let you know if I read it or I reviewed it. And then everything else is going to be for the Omega run, except there is one backlog that's in here as well. So first we have Absolute Flash number 3. Reddit will review it. Bug Wars number 4. Reddit will review it. Cyberpunk 2077 Psycho Squad number 4. That's going to be the Omega. Then we have Doom Academy number 4. That's going to be Omega. Exceptional X-Men is the one backlog that I have. Hulk and Doctor Strange number 1 is going to be For the Omega, Incredible Hulk 25, Reddit will review it. Iron Man 8, Reddit will review it. Medieval Spawn number 2, Reddit will review it. The New Gods number 6, that'll be for the Omega. Null Hunter 8 will be for the Omega. Redcoat number 12, Reddit will review it. Robo Wolf number 1, that is going to be for the Omega. Star Wars, High Republic, Fear of the Jedi number 4, Reddit will review it. Man, some of these are just a mouthful. Superior Avengers number 2, Reddit will review it. The Ultimates number 12, Reddit will review it. And Zatanna number 4, Reddit will review it. So those are the 17 there. It's actually interesting. I'm looking at it on this page. I'm like, I know I definitely put a score on these for League, but maybe it's not tracking between the cell phone app and the actual website. I'm not too sure, but either way, that's fine. Well, you may just see me putting a score live, which would it'd be cool and totally fine. No issue there. So yeah, those are the polls. Plenty of really awesome books, but let's flip back over to the main feed here and then talk about some of the books that we have, and then the order that we will be reviewing them in. So let's just go ahead and jump into those reviews, shall we? So just a reminder for all my reviews, very spoiler heavy. I just don't really know how to review books any other way. So I'll catch you up on the things that have happened thus far. Then we'll talk about the book itself, complete spoilers. So if you're not into spoilers, this just isn't the show for you. But then from there, I'll just let you know, here are my thoughts, how good the art was, whether or not you should hop into it, and where I think everything is kind of heading from there. And we'll do that for all 10 of the books. And then, we'll close out the show with some of the polls that we have going on for next week. So in this order, it's already here on the camera. We have The Ultimates, number 12, Absolute Flash, number 3, Bug Wars, number 4, The Incredible Hulk, number 25, Medieval Spawn, number 2, Superior Avengers, number 2, Zatanna, number 4, Star Wars The High Republic, Fear of the Jedi, number 4, Iron Man, number 8, and then Redcoat, number 12. So those are the 10 books, and then we'll just go through them in that order. I do try to put the time codes or the timestamps in the description for the YouTube, so you'll see it there. I don't really do it for the audio, just because I use 2 different feeds for that. So I do the Audacity for the audio, and then I record on OBS. And so it's just annoying to go between the 2, and people haven't requested it on the audio. If you want to see it on the audio, comment, let me know. I'll give you all the socials and everything towards the end, plus they're in the description. But people have specifically asked on the video, so I just added it in there. But then to do it twice is annoying if nobody wants it. So I'm just waiting for someone to basically request it. Alrighty, so the reviews for The Ultimates, number 12. Excellent book here that we have going on. This is actually one of the books too, and I'll go ahead and flip over to the share screen so you can see this. This is like the discovery page that's on League of Comic Geeks, and it has the pick of the weeks. So you have these top 5 books listed here. So we have Absolute Flash, number 3. When I first looked at this, right when the polls came out on Wednesday, Ultimates was actually number 1, around 20 or so percent, and then Flash was number 2 on the list, but that has since surpassed the Ultimate, so that's now in the number 1 spot. 22% of the vote is like a very close dead heat at this point, so very close. Absolute Flash, number 3, is number 1. The Ultimates, number 12, is in 2nd place. New Gods is in 3rd. Superman Unlimited. I was thinking about picking this up, and I'll talk about this much later towards the end of the show, but I decided not to. But now I'm thinking there may be a different strategy that I go about how I decide what I'm going to pull moving forward, so we'll see. And then Bug Wars number 4 is in that 5th and final spot. So you can just see here as I go into my books which one of mine will be the comic of the week. Yet to be revealed, but now you know. So the Ultimates here, number 12. I gave it a 4.5. League gave it a 4.4. Very good score. This one is pretty interesting because we get a massive reveal in this book, which is awesome. So the review and where we're at thus far. So the Ultimates is kind of the overarching story of what's happening in the Ultimate Universe. Here we have the Ultimates, that overarching book. Then we have Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Black Panther, and then Ultimate X-Men. So all this takes place in a different universe. A lot of the characters are different in some way, shape, or form. It could be a totally and completely character from who you would expect it to be. Oh, and then we also have Ultimate Wolverine. Now I'm thinking about it as well. Could be a different person. So, for example, in Ultimate Wolverine, the Winter Soldier isn't Bucky. It's actually Logan. So you have that twist there. In Ultimate X-Men, it's like a completely different cast of characters that are the X-Men and how they've gotten their powers. And it has nothing to do with the mansion. It's like taking place in Japan. Ultimate Black Panther, right? Like Killmonger's like a good guy. Storm is mostly aligned with Killmonger and not so much with the Black Panther. So yeah, just everything's slightly different. And then for Spider-Man, of course, it's Spider-Man not as a teenager but as an adult. He's married to MJ. He's got kids. Like, it's a totally different vibe there as well. So here it's Tony Stark. He's not Iron Man. He's Iron Lad. His father was actually Iron Man. And he was hurt pretty bad in a fight that took place against Hulk. And so Hulk in this is actually a bad guy. He's aligned with the Maker's Council and the Maker himself, who's been locked away in this kind of time stasis. So he's like the big bad of the Ultimate Universe. And we're trying to figure out a way of how are we going to stop him before that time stasis stops. And I think that takes the place of about a year and a half or 2 years or so. And this issue, after Tony was injured from that first battle with Hulk, this is way back, maybe issue 5, issue 6, something like that. He's fully healed and recovered. And so, yay, awesome, Tony's back. He then gathers all the Ultimates together. So it's basically a group of Avengers, and it could be a whole mix of different folks. People that have been given these powers, and some folks are the exact same of who they were. Others have changed. Others have changed their names. Others have different origin stories. It's all a mix. And so when he gathers everyone together, we have Doom as part of this, but it's not Doom as who it typically is, which is Victor. It's actually Reed Richards is Doom in the Ultimate Universe here. And Tony confronts Doom and says, when I died, in order for me to live, I fused myself with the Immortus engine. And that is what they're using to kind of go through time and see what are their options in order to be able to stop the Maker. And so by infusing himself, he now has the power to like kind of go through time and see different timelines and things like that. And he basically comes to realize that in the initial and kind of quote unquote canon fight that they had with Hulk, every single one of them died. They all died, and it shows it in the comic in a very brutal and gruesome way for all of their deaths. Like, this could have been a Red Band that's like that gruesome, but it's not. And Red Band is typically Marvel's indication that this is like a mature, a lot of viscera, like guts and blood and stuff all over the place, but it doesn't have that here, but it certainly could have been. It certainly could have been, especially for everything that they did for Blood Hunt. And then you look at that compared to this, it's like, I don't really see the difference here, but it's not a Red Band anyways. So with Tony revealing that, everyone's like, what the hell happened? And we come to find out that Doom altered the timeline because he's like, there are too many losses. It was unacceptable. You literally all died. And so he had to change it. And what he did is basically at the point where Tony died, that's where he pulled everyone back to home base and to get them out of there from Hulk so they didn't die in whatever the timeline that they were continuing on. And so everyone flips out of like, Doom, like, this goes against the playbook of what we said that we were going to do. And because of that, like, you've completely altered things. Like, you put yourself at risk, you put everyone at risk, because we don't know what's going to happen with this timeline. It's so fragile, like, you could have destroyed everything. And so Doom just basically puts up this whole story and this plea of like, I had to do it. We're not doing anything. We're not making the progress that we need to. Need effectively a Hail Mary, and I can't do this on my own. And so that is the reason that he did it. And then on top of that, I think there was something from a prophecy way earlier, could have been in Doom's actual individual origin issue. And it basically said one of the two, referring to him and to Tony, is going to either basically destroy the world or save the world. And it's going to be one or the other. And so he probably also couldn't take that risk of like, well, if Tony's like 100% dead, then I can't take that risk of him dying there. And then what if I'm the one that actually destroys the world versus saves the world? So like it has to have both of us back here in like some sort of continuity standpoint in order to be able to continue, trying to take down the Maker. So that all happens. Everyone's pissed off. And then basically, cooler heads prevail. And they're like, okay, we have to do a different approach. They're already the Ultimates 2.0. They're like, we're going to become the 3.0. And everyone is going to have a say. So Captain America is going to have a say. Ant-Man is going to have a say. Every single one of them. Hulk, Thor, so on and so on and so forth. And so that's what they decide. And everything's now on the table. We're good. It's copacetic. We're going to come up with ideas. Then at the very end, and this is the crazy reveal, you have Nick Fury, he's like a sub-head committee, if you will, of the Maker. So each one of those Ultimate Universes has someone that's reporting up to the Maker directly. For Black Panther, for Spider-Man, for X-Men, so on and so forth. And then Nick Fury is like kind of in the middle. And he's like a clone. At least that was explained. I want to say it was issue 8. That seems to ring a bell. And so he's talking to someone throughout this issue. And we come to find out, you think he's talking on like some sort of intercom phone that's here. He's talking to someone in the palm of his hand. It's Wasp. So Wasp reports back all of this stuff and apparently is an informant to the council. So now they know all this stuff is going to happen. Or they know that everyone knows. It's wild. So now she basically like is feeding this information back to the bad guys. And that's the cliffhanger that we're left off on. So it's like, holy shit, they're going to find literally everything out before it even takes place. So how is this all going to get factored in? How is it all going to wrap up? And really, how is it going to get to the point where they're going to be able to stop them? Because they've just been dominant. They haven't made any progress on the Ultimate side of things. I don't know. It's tricky. It's so cool, man. I'm enjoying the hell out of this book. So the art in this one is nuts because it is just truly, truly gruesome. I mean, like, look at this, right? It's not in a good shape at all for the Avengers. Like, we get to this one with, like, the body dismemberment on some of this stuff is like, wow, how is this not Red Band? That is just a commercial for some of it. I want to show you the one in particular. See if I can find it. So you have here like Iron Lad just like dead on the ground. And then it does also come a point too. It's like Tony's like, well, why did you have me basically die there, but nobody else did? I can't find it, but that's totally fine. Gives you an incentive to go and try to find it. And this is him talking to Wasp. Doom was like, I literally, as you guys were dying, it was exponentially increasing. It was like 10 to the 23rd is what he said as the seconds kept going by. So I just had to cut off at a certain point, and that's what he did. So that's how he claims it anyways, or at least how they wrote it. So, but this book is so good. The Ultimates is really taking off. I actually do think this will be a good place to jump into this one because you had all this time when Tony was out. Now all this has been revealed. Everything's on the table. I actually think it'd be a pretty good one. So maybe consider that. Ultimates number 12. Again, I gave it a 4.5, and then Lee gave it a 4.4. Actually, I realized I forgot to go to the comic camp. So let's just see this real quick. Because I'm trying to find this one in particular. Like, you can see, like, She-Hulk is, like, beheaded here. Here it is at the bottom here. Like, look at that. Just completely ripped in half. Like, my goodness gracious. So, yeah, that's the Ultimates number 12. Highly recommend. Awesome, awesome book. Then next here we have Absolute Flash number 3. So this was voted on Comic of the Week, and I completely and totally understand why that would be. It is an excellent book. I gave it, though, a 4. Lee gave it a 4.3. If we flip over to it here. It's all about the art in this one, and the story, there's just not a lot written, but a lot is conveyed through the art, which does make it really good. It doesn't always have to be like the words are saying everything. This is more of a show, don't tell. Totally and completely fine, and it does a very good job of it. I just don't think it was at the point of a 4.5 in my opinion. Looks like Lee kind of agrees here. It's interesting. You would think that the other one being rated higher, the Ultimates, means that it would be, voted higher, but not necessarily. This looks like it has a little under 1,100 votes. Let's go and see real quick what those votes were for Ultimate Wolverine. So this is even less, right? So it's just 892. So maybe that was, kind of a reason for it. But either way, they're both excellent books. We'll go into the story a little bit. So for the Flash here, he's basically was turned into the Flash by a lab experimental mistake, and so he doesn't really understand what's going on, and he's just running and whizzing by, and everything is just going crazy. He has this whole squad that's chasing after him. He doesn't know who they are or what they're about. That is revealed in this book, and then you see the monkey that's on his shoulder here. That's revealed to be Grodd. So instead of Gorilla Grodd, Grodd is now just like kind of a standard primate monkey. And so Flash is running, and he's just exhausted now. He's so tired from all the events that have taken place and like trying to run away from all these people. His friend Barry, who he believes he's killed as well, doesn't understand what's happening there. So he goes and he finds like a barn or an abandoned building, and he just sleeps there. That's when the whole squad reports back to the home base of like whoever has sent them out there, and it's like, hey, we found him and triangulated him. Let's send in Grodd and see if he can like see exactly where he is. So Grodd goes in, and then Flash has this ability now to connect with people, and so they connect almost like telepathically. And so Grodd is now like communicating with Flash, and basically they're in each other's heads and can understand one another. So just by that alone, they have the connection. Like they both had mothers, right? They both have loved ones that they've lost, and so on and so forth. And so Grodd basically decides, the heck with those people, I'm actually now going to side with Flash. So while that takes place, and the squad that's after him is radioing back to command, we find out Flash's father, who is a scientist, is part of this command group trying to get his son back. So now you have that piece as well, and it's like, okay, his father is actually the bad guy in this scenario, which is pretty nuts. So Grodd has decided, I'm now with Flash, and everything is like turning into more of a shit show. So while they're in the barn, Squad sends in this missile, completely blows up the barn. But rather than Flash running away, as he's been doing in the first two issues, he actually turns back and decides to fight. So he fights them off real quick and basically incapacitates them to the point where he can just run off and do his own thing. And he takes Grodd with him, and now he says, like, I finally am starting to feel free. So I guess getting more control of his power. Maybe the sleeping is really all he needed. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically the story in a nutshell. Now, again, it's all about the art in this one. So let me flip through it and show you exactly what I mean. So the way that the paneling is done is excellent. So here it looks like pretty standard, but it's anything but as you start going throughout this, right? And see all like the electricity and the flashes, pun intended. And then, of course, all the red and everything that you get as well. It's... These are kind of more the standard. Now, here we go. So here are the full spreads that I'm talking about. So this is the connection that he's starting to have with Grodd, right? And these circles and semicircles, and almost like for the audio listeners, like a Venn diagrams within one another. One on Grodd's side, the other on the Flash's side. So that's like the mother scene that you have there as well. And then as we get further, here out like the explosions when they went to blow up the barn and everything. And then the fight scene that took place afterwards, right? Like man, it is so good. And the color and the pop of the saturation of the color is just really good. And then kind of the reveal here towards the end. So yeah, this is Absolute Flash number 3. Is it the time to jump in? You're going to be better off. Let's just be real. If you jump in on one, I think you'd be fine if you jumped in here too. It gives you enough context, gets you caught up, and it's more about the art in this one anyways. It's not so much about, a bunch of fluff and exposition to get you caught up there. So, yeah, that is Absolute Flash number 3. I gave it a 4. Lee gave it a 4.3. So next up we have here is Bug Wars, and man, this is like some of the craziest stuff that I have read. It is just insane what they're doing with this book. So I gave this one a 4.5. Lee gave it a 4.5 as well. And without any further ado, I'm just going to say it. This is the comic of the week. This book is nuts. Look at the cover, first of all. I love how they're doing this. It's like silver and gray and a bunch of whites. I love that alone. That the artwork throughout is excellent, but this is like when they talk about bug wars, they do mean like straight up wars, but it's Mad Max type war, right? There are no rules. Everyone's just barbarians, and it's like heavy language. There's no morals. It is just a brutal, gruesome, terrifying world. And the best way I can describe it is like, imagine Mad Max, but just with bugs. And instead of a desert, it's a yard. That's basically what you have here. And it doesn't hold back. It's nuts throughout. And so, yeah, it's an excellent book. We'll get into the story real quick. So if you can see, let's flip over to the main cam. If you can see from here on the cover, right? So we have our spider lady and then our main character, Slade. So Slade has this amulet that is connected to his body. His father works a whole bunch with bugs in this house in the middle of Alabama, and he died years ago. And come to find out that he collected all these bugs, and when he died, it was actually these different bugs that somehow looked like they ate him alive. And Slade has a brother named Sidney. He came downstairs and he saw his dad die that way, and so he has a complete fear of all these bugs. Slade has grown up idolizing his father, so he's more into bugs. And so basically from the first issue, they moved back to this house because they owned it. Mother was single parent trying to make everything work, but I don't think she was able to, so they had to move back to the piece of property that they have. The yard is completely unkept because this house has just basically been sitting there, and all these bugs that were in the house have now escaped and are in the yard. And it's a whole collection of bugs that aren't necessarily native to Alabama, all now living in this yard. And this amulet is what gives Slade kind of these powers. So he's shrunk down to a bug size, but at times, and he can't fully control it, he has like the ability as though he's human size. So when he punches, he's punching as though it's the full force of the human size, even though he's down at the bug size. And then at times too, he'll then grow back into like his full form, and then like grow back to the bug size as well. Can't fully control it. So he was captured. He was thrown into basically this gladiator-style cathedral. He fought his way out with Spider Lady over here, and now Spider Lady is trying to take him over to the Council of Spiders, but there's like a dark plot there of they want to remove the amulet, but by doing so, it's going to kill Slade. So you're caught up basically on the story here. This is all about the journey from that Coliseum, that arena, to where the Spider Council is. So they're going through, and it is just completely screwed up. You learn a little bit more about the different bugs and mites and things that are out here in the wilderness, and like how they're able to work their way through. They don't really trust each other. Mostly Slade not trusting the Spider Lady. Spider Lady is just trying to tell him, like, you don't belong here, but I'm going to take you to this place. Hasn't revealed anything to him yet. As they go, of course, they start to get closer. She's actually now trying to get him to enjoy this a little bit. He's like finding pieces that he's enjoying about it as well. They have heart-to-hearts, find out that the Spider Lady is like an outcast from her group. She was loving one of her own that was like a fellow assassin in training that was forbidden. She's been an outcast ever since. And then Slade, of course, talking about his brother, even though his brother is afraid of bugs and is spraying the yard with a whole bunch of raid effectively, and like mowing the lawn and cutting the lawn and stuff and everything, trying to get rid of these bugs. He still loves him, even though he knows, he's a bit crazy. And so this changes how Spider Lady basically feels about him. And when they finally get to where the Spider Council is, she reveals to them like, hey, they're going to try to remove this amulet, but that is going to kill you in the process. So go and run while you can, and I'll just hold them off. And so Slade thinks about it. This whole time, he had like a pet beetle. I didn't mention this before, but he had a pet beetle with him. That beetle was captured, escaped, ran up with him, and then finally caught up with them as they made it to the Spider Council. And so he was thinking about it, just run off, and he's got the beetle now. But then he's like, I want to learn more about this amulet. I want to know what the council, because they've been around forever apparently, knows about my father as well. So he decides he's going to go into the council, and they're like hanging in some sort of like potted plant thing. And he arrives there, and then the spiders are like, oh, welcome, the nurses equivalent of spiders will take you in now. So that's the cliffhanger we're left off on. So yeah, excellent book. Let's go ahead and show you the art on this one. It is nuts. Just how brutal it all is. Like, you just have bugs getting squashed back and forth. There's a brief like fight scene that you have, right? And it's like messy and guts, blood, and death and maggots. Like, it is a war. And Slade does not belong there at all, like fighting off different rodents and things like that. This is like the forbidden love that was happening as well. It is just an excellent book. And what a crazy concept overall. Let's just take Mad Max and just throw a whole bunch of bugs from across the world and just throw them all together, and then here are the spider people towards the end. So yeah, I'm loving this book. I cannot wait for the next one. It's just been an excellent ride. Who do we have on this? It's Jason Aros is the name. Oh, Jason Aaron is the name on it. And so every time it comes up, I'm like, this is excellent. Can't wait for it. Always going to be one of the premier books that I'll be reviewing, at least in my eyes, and all four have just been excellent stuff. So again, I gave it a 4.5, and Lee gave it a 4.5 as well.
Nailed it. I know. Thank you. Moving on.
Forgot to do that bumper towards the front. I'm working all the keys and the buttons now, and it's not as easy as you'd think it would be trying to run a smooth show when you got a million different things going on. All right, next, The Incredible Hulk, 25. This book was good. It almost felt like kind of a filler issue, if I'm being honest with you. So I gave it a 4. Lee gave it a 4.1. As you can tell by the cover, it is exactly what you think it is. It is Thor versus Hulk, and kind of a one-off. So backstory here, I'll just kind of keep it more recent. Hulk is traveling with a teenager. Her name is Charlie. She has donned the skin of this kind of like demon, half werewolf, half vampire type thing, called the Lycana, and basically it is some sort of evil elder being, and that is like one of these types of beasts. There's another one out there called the Eldest, which Hulk, or the gamma radiation, somehow a descendant of that, has been going after Hulk, has been going after like the Lycana, and they're trying to basically call them back home, is what the Eldest is trying to do. So that's like the big bad that's out there. This issue, Thor shows up after Charlie and Hulk went to the Sanctorum, which, Doctor Strange's place, tried to find Doctor Strange to hopefully remove the Lycana. Turns out someone that was there was actually just impersonating one of the other witches, Clea, and was working for the Eldest. They finally figured that out, broke out of there, and Thor then arrives and is like, you're donning the skin of the Lycana. I've run into this beast before that's killed a bunch of Asgardians. I'm here to destroy you. So the fight is on, basically, from the jump. Hulk's like, leave her alone. She's with me. Thor won't listen. She's like, I've dealt with the Lycana in a teenage female body before. I know that she's just lying to you, because that's what she did back then. So these two fight for a majority of the book. Charlie's trying to stop him, and basically it gets to the point where Thor throws Hulk into the ocean. So he seems like he's stopped for the time being. Hulk comes back, pulls up like an oil frigate or carrier or whatever, an enormous ship, and throws it at Thor. Incredible scene. Then it gets to the point where Mjolnir is on the ground. Thor has a whole bunch of his other Asgardian warriors with him, and Hulk goes to try to grab it, and of course he can't. But Thor summons it to him. It's like a tug of war thing. It's like right in the middle. So Hulk grabs it. Thor summons it to him, and then Hulk like basically knocks him over like a bowling pin. It's like nuts and like, okay, pretty ridiculous. Then Charlie is like, stop it, guys. And Charlie actually helps the Asgardians. So that's when Thor is like, wait, hold on. The previous Lycana would have never done that. And then they basically go their separate ways. Hulk and Charlie then leave, and then Thor stops the attack there. Then at the very end, we get the reveal that Clea, the actual Clea, comes back to the Sanctorum that's destroyed. She puts it all together. You have Black Widow and Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. They show up, and they're like, have you seen Hulk? It's like, I know he was here, but it wasn't me. It was someone else. Like, what are you looking for him, and why? There's someone out there going after gamma radiation people, entities, beasts, or whatever, and we need to warn Hulk and protect him because they're probably going to come after him next. Like Hulk needs any sort of protecting whatsoever, but you can understand why this is a filler issue. Like, this was just like a one and done. This event just happened, and that's it. There was nothing further or additional that took place after this. So, yeah, I mean, kind of just a filler, to be honest. So as far as jumping into it, I mean, it's effectively a one-off, so you could, or you could jump into the next one at 26. I think that'd be totally fine as well. So let's now flip over to our comic cam here. Show the art off. Hulk has always been about the art. It really has. And this issue is no different. So, pretty bloody issue that you have throughout here. You get a little bit of the backstory of Thor and his last run-in with the Lycana. And then here's the fight is on between Hulk and Thor throughout. Great detail. Very graphic and gruesome is the way that I would describe it. And a lot of detail that is kind of throughout, mostly on the actual figures, right? On Thor himself, on Hulk himself. Here's where the Lycana comes out of Charlie, and you can see her there. And then this is the part here, right, where Hulk is down here in the corner throwing this enormous, ship. I guess it's a sunken ship, too, at Thor, which is incredible. And then we'll get to the part 2 of Thor and his buddies show up, and then Hulk grabbing onto Mjolnir, and then getting thrown into Thor. So yeah, excellent book here. Really enjoyed it. This is also cool too. I'll show this off. This cover doesn't have the M&M logo in the back. It's the full spread that you get here too, which is dope. So this is the front cover and then the back cover, of course. So yeah, it's a fun book. Again, I gave this one a 4. Lee gave it a 4.1. It'd be fine to jump into this one. 26 would be fine to jump in as well, because it really is just a one-off in the middle of this run that you got going here for the Incredible Hulk 25. Next up here is Medieval Spawn. So we're going to Image. This is number 2 for this one. And this book is pretty good, pretty interesting of where things are all headed here. Still trying to understand, we're so early in, it's what is actually happening and going on. So I'm going to grab a quick sip of coffee. So it's Spawn in medieval time and medieval era. In the previous issue, there's this disease that took over this village. We found this boy that, warned them about it. Spawn and his crew, they came in and they killed everyone. So now they're trying to figure out who exactly put this disease onto this village, basically. So let's find them and stop him so it doesn't happen elsewhere. Makes sense. That's noble. Over the last 3 months or so, they took the boy with them, and, he's part of the crew now. They've been just hunting down this whoever it may be. They have a lead of a name. Nobody's ever heard of this name, so they're coming up with nothing. And so Spawn says, we should probably go after Bastion, and we don't really know who that is. But the others are like, no, that's a crazy old madman man. We're not going after him. And the kid wants to know, who exactly that is, and is a little naive. And so Spawn's like, I really do think that this is the way that we need to go. And so he takes the kid with him, and the others are like, we cannot go with you. We're not going to see who this guy is. So us as a reader, I was like, how crazy is this guy? So we get to a passing, and there's just this huge rock and cliff there. So Spawn does something with a sword. The passageway opens up. But as it opens up, to the side, this huge troll ogre, multiple stories high, reveals himself. So they're going to have to fight this thing at some point. That's one of the cliffhangers. The other B side of the story is on another castle or village nearby. There's a cleric and an abbot talking to one another. And the cleric mentions, hey, there's rumor that there's this spawn, hell spawn out there. We should go after it. And the abbot's like, absolutely not. That's not our place. Things are safe and fine here. We don't need to go after him. So as they're having this discussion, there's the commander of this village, castle, settlement, or whatever. He's like, goes up to the cleric. It's like, hey, I overheard what you said, and I agree. We should do something. So then the abbot is just dead a couple pages over. So either the cleric or the commander or both killed him, and the cleric is now made head of the abbot. And he's like, okay, we're going to, or the abbey, whatever it is, we're going to go after this hellspawn. So prepare everything and let's get ready to roll out. So that's the other piece that happens in this story. So, things are just starting to get the ball rolling here. I think it'd be fine to jump into this one, but you probably want to just catch the first one if you can. It's just issue number 2. Either way, you're going to be totally and completely fine. So I neglected to say the score here for the audio folks, but I gave it a 4. Lee gave it a 4 as well.
Nailed it. I know. Thank you. Moving on.
And so let's flip over to the art real quick. So I think the Spawn and Image stuff is very similar. It's the same style that Rat City is also done in as well, which is good. It kind of reminds me more of like cartoonish art style than comic book art style, if that makes sense. Like I feel like it's almost done in a way that like a Nickelodeon or a Cartoon Network cartoon would be drawn. So not crazy amount of action here, but you do get that one nice spread with, so this is the boulder and the rock opening, and then the troll that then comes out as well, which is pretty cool. And then everyone getting ready to roll out towards the end here. So yeah, that's Medieval Spawn. I think it's we need another issue or two to see where everything's going to go and what my thoughts are there, but I imagine we just get more fighting, and then Spawn and them are going to meet up with this group of, I wouldn't call them raiders necessarily, but whatever the cleric was able to scrounge up and start to fight those guys as well. So that is Medieval Spawn number 2. I gave it a 4. Lee gave it a 4 as well. Then next up here we have Superior Avengers number 2. And this book I think struggled a little bit. So I gave it a 3.5. League actually gave it a 3.8, so they're a little bit higher than me. But I found this issue to be a little confusing. So Superior Avengers is basically a bunch of villains in the One World Under Doom universe, and they are from different parts of the timeline in the future. Doom's son decided to bring them all back and to be the Avengers of this timeline because all the Avengers now are so skeptical of Doom, and apparently in this future all one of these villains have gone after and apparently have tried to attack Doom. So we're like, hey, let's just bring them back before that even happens, and then now they'll be underneath, kind of our kind of watchful eye, and they can actually work for us rather than get to the point of where they want to come in and try to kill us. So that's the theory behind it. And the Superior Avengers come in. All the citizens are skeptical because these are all villains. But when they bring them in, it's like during an attack that takes place, and they all come in and help. So that does help to change public perception at least a little bit. And now in this issue, the Superior Avengers, and towards the end of the last one, basically showed their true colors, that they actually are just going to try to go after and kill Doom because at some point in their timelines, things have just gone horribly wrong. And they get to the point where they get to this relic, and this is where things get confusing. It looks like they show either a future where they all attack Doom, and it looks like they destroy him, but the world is also kind of destroyed, so it's like kind of all for, there's no justice in the end, it's all gone to shit. So it's that, or it's someone's future in particular, and it looks like it's Killmonger's. So that's like kind of weird, of like, it's not very clear of which it is. So that happens, and then when they leave the place of this relic, then one of the Fantastic Four villains, and I can't remember, it's like Alchemy or something like that, just was released from the raft, which was part of, I think, the Avengers. And from there, already started to do some stuff, so the Superior Avengers help out and stop that guy. So more further evidence that these Superior Avengers are actually good, trying to even further help their view in the public eye. And with both of these invasions now stopped from the one side, and then the Fantastic Four villain, basically they are summoned then to Doomstad, which is Doom's castle, and they meet up with the Sun there. And so now the whole squad's there, and the Sun and Killmonger's female in this one, they're like, yeah, let's go hang out real quick. And then they just start banging for no reason towards the end of the book. And then Ghost, who's here, like goes through the walls and like sees them hooking up. So I guess we're supposed to insinuate as the reader that like this is a bad thing, and that like, oh, is it like an inside job that now Ghost is going to find out and report back to the rest of the group here? I don't really know. That's where it gets confusing. It gets weird. Also, with looking into the future, that part gets a little weird too. So yeah, 3.5 for me. It was borderline 3. I was like, this is just so confusing. I don't really know what's happening here. So let's show the art. So that way you can see it. Art is very, very good. So this is like the relic thing that they're showing. Here's the future that they show. And because it is actually Killmonger killing, I don't know if this is specifically her timeline, if it's her future, but you have others that are shown in here, part of the Superior Avengers. It's like, I don't know. And then here's where they kind of come out of it, and they're showing, a newscast of like, hey, see, these guys are pretty good. And that's who they end up fighting, which is the Fantastic Four villain, basically, that they're going after. So they're able to stop this guy, and then they go back to the Doomsday here, and then here's where they start hooking up. So it's like, I don't get it. It's weird. So is it the point to jump in? You should probably get one, but honestly, I just say hold and pass and just wait to see how it actually all kind of ends up unfolding, in my opinion. So again, that's Superior Avengers number 2. I gave it a 3.5. Lee gave it a 3.8. Next up here we have is Zatanna number 4. Really enjoying this one. This is where things are starting to really heat up here. So Lee gave this one a 4.2. I gave it a 4. Art in this one is phenomenal as always. The story here, it's only a tad bit confusing in how we get to where we do in the end. And I'll explain. So thus far, Zatanna was setting up for a show. In the theater that they were setting up, there's this portrait of the Lady White, and a whole bunch of her crew get sucked into this portrait. One of the guys, Adam, is like completely taken under the spell of the Lady White, while the other ones, Zatanna, went into the portrait, was able to get them out, and that's where the whole conflict basically started. And the Lady White put this like glowing sword into her chest, and Zatanna just can't get it out. And she's been trying, and it's affecting her magic, and she was then pulled into these other dreams. And in the last issue, she fought, it was Clayface who was also pulled into this dream, and she was able to disrupt the entire thing, and then, kind of reveal that this is all some sort of dream nightmare thing. In the beginning of this issue, she pulls Clayface out of it into back, the real world. And from there, Clayface is kind of pushed to the side, but Zatanna's like, I really need to focus in on getting this sword out of her. She tries a whole bunch of different spells as she did in the second issue. Still doesn't work. Her friends that were part of that whole crew on the theater and setting up the show, they come over and they basically just help reassure her of like who she is, right? You're Zatanna, you're this incredible witch with all these magical powers. You'll be able to figure it out. And they mentioned something about a nightmare, which makes her remember of like, oh, you know what? This actually may be something in the dreamscape. So she goes into the dreamscape, she sees this demon, and she's like, okay, demon, like, let me know what is actually happening here with this sword that's in my chest. And so the demon's like, that is actually not, has anything to do with dampening the magic. So Zatanna's like, okay, got it. Some sort of misdirect here. So it's like, what's actually going on? And there's this lighthouse in this dreamscape. That's actually what's dampening the magic. So I guess she has to figure out how to destroy this lighthouse. So after that takes place, while she was in the dream with Clayface, she found like this invitation. So she leaves the dreamscape, she has the invitation, I should say, when she's in the dreamscape, she has the invitation. She couldn't read it. It was just blank. But the demon can read it. And the demon lets her know it's a invitation to the Crimson Palace, which is where the Lady White is, and she has a partner with her as well. I think he's like the Night Brother. I think that's what his name ends up being in this. Let's actually pull that up real quick. Zatanna, number 4. Brother Knight. I was close. And they're going to put on some show. So now Zatanna knows, don't worry about the sword. It has something to do with the lighthouse. They're trying to put on this big old show at the Crimson Palace. Zatanna arrives, and Brother Knight and the Lady White decide, okay, we're going to fight Zatanna. And they're like, hey, you have the sword in you. There's no way you're going to be able to beat us. And then this is where things get weird. I don't know where this lighthouse is, if it lives in the dreamscape or not, but somehow she was able to destroy the lighthouse, and now she was able to pull out the sword, and now she has her full ability, and that is the cliffhanger that we're left off on. So that's where it gets weird, and it doesn't really explain like how she was able to now just destroy it, maybe because she didn't realize it was there, and now she does. I don't really know. That's kind of the confusing part. But the art, again, does pull this one really far ahead, so let's actually flip over to that. Take a look here. So here is, you have a couple scenes of the Lady White talking with Brother Knight in this one. Here's where she's basically trying to figure out how to get rid of the sword, and all her friends talking to her of like, you can do it. Here in that dreamscape world, the reference to the lighthouse, the invitation that you have here, the sword that's stuck in her chest, so on and so forth. And then in the Crimson Palace, the fighting that then takes place there. And then so here's where everything's weird. Oh, I forgot Adam is involved too, so he's like, as they're fighting, they're distracted as well. You have the Blue Devil that was captured here. I didn't mention that, but you don't need to worry about that too much. It's like a B plot that doesn't even matter. So here, the lighthouse explodes, and then over here you have, I guess, her power is coming back to her, and then she's pulling out the sword, and eventually in the end she does pull out the sword. But it's this lighthouse part that doesn't make sense. It's like, where is this? I don't get it. Like, how was she able to destroy that? What did she destroy that then destroyed the lighthouse? That's where it doesn't make, and it falls apart, unfortunately. So yeah, I know I'm hung up on that one detail, but if they would have wrapped that up better, it would have been fine. It would have made perfect sense, and it wouldn't be something that hung up on. And hell, maybe I wouldn't have even given it a 4.5. But they just didn't do a good job of explaining it, unfortunately. So it is what it is. So that is Zatanna, number 4. I gave it a 4. Lee gave it a 4.2. Then next up, and we have just 3 more, including this one, we have Star Wars The High Republic, Fear of the Jedi, number 4. This one, I gave it a 4. Lee gave it a 4.1. And, you know, for this book, we're starting to wrap things up on the High Republic as far as I understand it. So we have basically a group, call it the Han Solo. It's Lorna is her name, and she is a smuggler. Was bad, turned good. And then we have General Creve, and she's like kind of the marshal right now, so she was promoted and supposed to be, you know, you have in the regular Star Wars, General Kenobi and Anakin that are actually going out and fighting. So she was like promoted beyond that and needs to like stop fighting, but she's like been struggling with that. And they're all going after the Nihil, which are basically the rebels of this time, because in the High Republic era, the Republic are in control. They're effectively the Empire, so the roles are in reverse. And we're fighting on the final planet here, basically, or on the outskirts of it. And so the Republic has set up a blockade the reverse way to prevent anyone from getting to the planet and supporting any further. And while they've done that, on the front cover here, you have what are called the Nameless. And the Nameless are basically these creatures that can dampen people's force use. And on top of that, they also will show, you know, kind of your deepest, darkest fear. And as they're fighting through the Nameless that have now arrived as like these reinforcements, everyone starts to realize they're all seeing different things. So if they're seeing different things, then it's not just the Nameless, because the Nameless would also dampen the force that they're using. But some of them are actually using the force. So it's like, okay, we're seeing different things, so it could be the Nameless, but we're using the force, so it can't be the Nameless. And for some of them, their deepest fear is the Nameless. So that would kind of make sense of why some see it, but some don't. But the fact that some people can use, or all the Force users can use the Force, that means it's not the Nameless. It's something else. And what they realize, and this is what Lorna and her squad of the smugglers were facing on Naboo, is this Sith Force user that has the ability, think of it like Scarecrow from DC, like the fear gas, is able to do that and amplify this signal, because in Naboo it was literally they were just in the throne room and it was affected just the folks that were there, but now it's affecting multiple people in space in this space battle. And so they're like, okay, focus, let's triangulate, where is she? And sure enough, she's in a ship connected herself to a whole bunch of this stuff and like amplifying it. And they like specifically said with like a lot of paint in order to do this, but that's what's happening. And so they're like, okay, that makes sense, but like, what else are we fighting? Like, there has to be some huge thing that we're fighting. And then they just focus in and lock in on it. And it's these like drone droids, smaller and larger, that they're all attacking now. So now that they can see past their fear, they can actually see what it is that they're attacking. And that's the cliffhanger that we're left off on. So it's more of like, okay, what was attacking us? Now we know it's attacking us. Okay, let's go attack it. That basically sums it up there. So let's flip over now to the actual issue itself and the art that you have here. Like, look at that full spread on the Nameless right there. Like, that is nuts. Art is pretty good in this one, I'll say, overall. And this is them all just trying to figure out what is that fear that they're trying to fight. You have folks on all different areas. You have some that are in the fighter ships, some that are on like the frigates and the actual command ships, others that are up on the bridge, and they're all, you know, fighting different challenges basically. But here's like that full splash where you see the Sith that's amplifying that signal. And everyone's now coming to grips of who exactly they're fighting. And so here are those mini drone droids that they are fighting, and then the enormous one that they're fighting. So the fear showed the Nameless, but in actuality, this is what they're fighting here. It's this enormous drone droid that is going after them. Excuse me. So, yeah, it's setting up a fight that's going to basically take place soon. Is it the time to jump in? I'd say no, but really overall High Republic, it's not the time to jump in just because so much stuff has happened and we're wrapping up towards the end. So kind of keep that in mind too. There's going to be a point where we kind of restart stuff for the High Republic, and I'd say that's really the time, but not now at this point. So that is Star Wars: The High Republic, Fear of the Jedi, number 4. And then for Zatanna, I don't think I said whether or not to jump in on that one. It's not the time to jump in on that one. Let's just be real. At number 4 and all this stuff that's happened doesn't make much sense. So now we are on our second to last one here. We have Iron Man number 8. And this one I gave a 4. Lee gave it a 3.9. I think that this one does take a little bit of a step back of where things are headed. It's more of kind of the corporate side of things, but it takes an interesting turn of like discussing about unions and things like that, which I found a little interesting. So we have Tony. He's out of the weapons business. Now he's getting back into the weapons business in this one world under Doom scenario. And basically he thinks that the best way in order to control Doom is to be the only sole provider of the weapons, because if it's someone else, things could get really out of hand. That's how he kind of justifies it. And so he does decide that his big manufacturing facility, and like kind of the main one, is going to be manufacturing weapons again. And so that facility decides to go on strike. And as they go on strike, there's like this subdivision of S.H.I.E.L.D. that has these security guards that start attacking all these striked workers. It's like, the heck is that all about? And so Tony finds out and he heads out over there. And of course he starts kicking all their asses. It's like, we're not having this. And the head union guy, or, you know, plant manager, whatever you want to call it, is like, yeah, like the wages aren't fair. We don't have a seat on the board. We don't want to make weapons anymore. It's all this back and forth. Like, this is BS. And so Tony explains, you know, we have to do this, and this is the right thing to do. And I got to figure out what this whole security thing was about. So he's like, time out here. I'm going to figure that out. And somehow he realizes that that's Black Widow. And Black Widow and him had a discussion 1 or 2 issues ago. I think it was 2 issues ago. Basically, like, here's how we think that we should go about doing this to stop Doom. And Tony coming up with the idea of, I should be the sole provider of these weapons, because at least then it's controlled. And we have other ways that we can distribute weapons to like the rebels equivalent to Latveria, you know, the country which Doom controls. So we can work this multiple ways, and then Doom will be none the wiser. And at the same time, we're also supplying weapons to the rebels. Black Widow completely disagreed, and you come to find out that she was the one that sent this whole squad to fight off all the the union workers. So Iron Man confronts her and was like, hey, I know you disagree with this, but like just let this play out, please, and leave me alone. So she agrees, and then Iron Man heads back, talks to the plant manager, and is like, okay, I'll cave into a majority of your demands, and I'll give you guys 3 of the 11 seats on the board, so now you have a say on what to do moving forward. And so they all agree. And then at the very end, it's Red Widow is basically now the new target, because she, I think it's a she, was going after the Latveria arms dealer in a different part of the world, and looks like was trying to stop that transaction from taking place. So now Iron Man's going to have to go and deal with that. So it's a lot of like corporate-y stuff that's going on in this one, but it's like a weird of like defending turf and still trying to manufacture these weapons and get them over to Doom and trying to get everyone on board. It's like the best way I could describe it. So the art for this one is fine. I say serviceable. I've seen better. I've seen worse. I don't think it's anywhere that's like too crazy. So I can see why, league a little bit lower on it. But overall, I've been enjoying it. And again, Iron Man is just one of those characters that I feel like no matter what, I'm going to be reading. And I hinted at it before. Maybe I'll talk about it now. So to pivot a little bit, and it's going to be easier if you can see this on the actual video versus the audio. But as I've been flipping through the Marvel ones, you've been seeing this Captain America one. So this is Chip Zdarsky, who's very well known, very good. And I've been seeing it a lot, and I was like, I want to jump into it, but I keep talking about I need to pare things down. I saw this TikTok, and I'm not even on TikTok. I literally just post to try to promote the podcast, really, and build content around that. And so I don't actually scroll on TikTok. It's like Instagram is my doom scrolling app of choice. And there's this older guy who's on it. It's like, oh man, I see all these comic influencers like showing up. Like it just warms my heart. And then I was like so saddened by that, because I was like, oh my gosh, am I just out here chasing a trend and I don't even realize it? But he's like, here's 5 things, like 5 sage advice to people that are new into comics, and especially if you're on the influencer side, like you've been doing this for a little bit and thought that like you would do it to the point of now you're regularly producing content, right? So you're not like brand spanking new. And 2 things that resonated with me. So one is follow the creators, not the characters. I'll say it again. Follow the creators, the writers, the artists, not the characters. And he's like, there's nothing that's more demoralizing than you follow a character. So for me, it's Iron Man. And then someone writes your character in a way that doesn't make any sense. You don't like XYZ reason. And so you got to follow the creators that you actually like. So for me, I love Rom V. Tom King's pretty good in the trade format. James Tynion is like my guy right now. Who's doing Exquisite Corpses. And I keep looking on Instagram, like everyone is loving this book, from at least the influencer community anyways. And it's like this book, they're highlighting and doing just one-off reviews on it on the Instagram content, because it's like so good. Perfect example. And one that I almost skipped. So I'm glad I didn't. But those are like the examples there. Versus me, like, okay, Iron Man, it's like maybe, Ackerman is great, but like who I could have just hopped onto it and it could have been, oh, it's a newer writer, Iron Man's not doing much, like go ahead and we'll help get you some exposure, XYZ thing. So I think I'm going to start doing that more often now. And Zdarsky, I've always heard like really good things, so I may just hop onto that. And then the other thing, and this is the one that I'm coming to terms with, and I just saw this today, so I gotta sleep on it and think about it some more. But stopping books because they're so addictive. We have this completionist mentality as like a comic book collector and a reader of like having to finish out the run even though we're not enjoying the book. And so I'm a little conflicted on it for one of 2 reasons. So one, like, okay, if you have a budget, you can use the budget, that's fine. And 2, if you're doing content around it, you want some bad books in there as well. It can't all be phenomenal. It can't all be bad. It can't all be mediocre. There should be some sort of like up and down as you're talking about them, right? And so I'm like, okay, I could see that. But I am a little over budget right now. Certainly from the number count. Monetarily it's like whatever. But from like the number count is over budget on how many I should really be reading in order to be able to sustainably get through them. So that I'm like, okay, maybe I should look to pare them down. And then with that, I could look into adding more things and then be freer to just stop them. But the completionist thing, I mean, he hit the nail on the head about that. Like, I want one through whatever. I don't want to just stop. But and then there are some like ongoing series that I just jumped in and it feels totally completely fine. But then other stuff I'm just like, just finish it to the end. So a perfect one is like Rat City. I felt like we came to a perfect ending at XYZ book. It was like one issue ago. And so that's one that's like, okay, just break it off because that's where it ended and it would be good. There are others that are probably like that. There are other X-Men ones that it's like, I have these, but like, would I really actually continue to read it if I was already caught up on it? So I'm just thinking, well, I do want to get into this Captain America one just to check it out. Superman Unlimited seems pretty cool, so I kind of want to get into that. There are just examples of like, okay, maybe I could have read a couple of those and then drop some other things and then start paring some things down. So that's what I'm thinking about. I'll be sleeping on it a little bit more and just thinking more about it, of what I actually want to do and like try to get out of the hobby anyways. But those are the two things that resonated with me. I was like, okay, let's maybe reconsider and position how we want to go about this moving forward. Food for thought. Food for thought. So, with that big sidebar and tangent there, let's go into our final book, shall we? So we have Redcoat number 12 here, and this book is really good. Lee gave it a crazy high score. Lee gave it a 4.6. I gave it a 4. I don't think it was quite 4.5 territory. It tries to tug on the heartstrings, and it does a little bit, but that's kind of classic Redcoat. It's been doing that. And we do get like some cooler takes, but I knew it was going to head in this direction anyway, so that's why it wasn't 4.5 territory. It just wasn't surprising enough for me. But the story's cool. It's very, very cool. I do recommend this book. Nonstop, it's been good. It's been a lot of mostly gas and no breaks, but you know, you've had a couple in there in between. But as far as things go, very good, solid book. We have Simon Pure. He's the Redcoat in this one. And then we have the Northerner. So the Northerner, and if you're on audio, you can't see this. Obviously, if you're in visual, you very clearly see this. He's black. So the Northerner for this one is coming back into the Civil War era. Civil War is going on. Simon is running a whole bunch of letters to either side of the war for a pretty penny. And for this storyline here, we don't know who the Northerner is. He claims that he knows Simon in the future, but Simon doesn't know him at this point. We have a girl that's with the Northerner as well, who he saved. And us as the reader can clearly see something in the future has changed. And it was shown a couple of issues ago that he doesn't have Civil War weapons. He has like World War II or newer weapons, so like fully automatic stuff. And they're chasing after this guy who wrote a letter for Simon to deliver to the Confederacy for a battle. And so Simon was just going to do it. He was getting paid. And the Northerners like, stop, don't do it. What you're going to do is going to destroy the country. And if the country is destroyed, you're going to die as well. Simon is immortal, but his immortality is based on a power that is specifically tied to the country. So you can't leave the country. We discovered that, I think, like issue 8 or issue 7. And now if the country dies, he's going to die as well. So it's for the interest of him as well to keep it together. And what we discover is Simon's like, okay, if you pay me, I will not deliver the letter. So the Northerners like, fine. But if you look at the currency, it's not the United States of America, it's the Confederacy of America. So the South has won the war. And so the Northerner is like, okay, paying you and then stopping this letter wasn't enough. And the Northerner just burns it. It's like, we got to find the cobbler, who's the one that sent the letter in the first place. Come to find out, the cobbler is also from the future as well, around the same time period. So he's the counterpart to the Northerner. And the cobbler is hiding out in his house. Some Union soldiers came and confronted him. he comes out and he turns out with like a fully automatic weapon, kills all those guys. So Simon, the Northerner, and the little girl, they arrive at the cobbler's place. And the Northerner's like, stay out here, Simon. Simon's like, no, I'm going to head in. We're going to figure this thing out. And it's kind of an ambush. The house is empty, but the cobbler like shows up with the automatic weapons and starts shooting up the place. So Simon, the Northerner, and the girl, they're all like hiding behind cover. So as they do that, then the cobbler throws in a bunch of grenades, completely blows up the house. Simon's okay, the girl's okay, the Northerner's okay. But now they're like covered in all this rubble and the soot. And then the cobbler has like a wagon completely loaded up with weapons, grenades, automatic weapons, stuff that's going to way outpower the Union. And he's driving up to provide the Confederacy with all these weapons. So right now the timeline still holds that it's going to turn to the Confederacy somehow. Likely these weapons, as you can imagine, are going to change the tide of the war. If you're going in with this and everyone else is like fighting in Civil War era stuff where they're still doing the bayonets and stuff, and it takes like 2 minutes to reload, all that craziness, right? So that is the story. Pretty wild, pretty cool reveal that you have there, that the cobbler is also part of this future too, of like the country changing and everything. It was good stuff. Then we get into the art of this thing. Very good as well. All this art has been really excellent throughout, so no change here. Still the same team that's been working on it. So there's that reveal of like the money and the currency up top there. This is where they're hunting him down. This is the cobbler showing off everything that he's going after, the Union soldiers that show up, showing the weapons that he has. So that looks like World War II era, I'm pretty sure. So still, I mean, right, fully automatic weapons, that's going to change the pace of everything. So here we see how the Northerner has guns as well, and then the cobbler's taking on the Northerner and Simon, and like it's like just a straight up gunfight. And then lobbing the grenade in there, and then the cobbler basically leaving, where he has a whole bunch of weapons that he's then going to supply over to the Confederacy. And so looking at him, just looking a little closer, yeah, that looks like World War II era. Maybe a little bit newer, maybe Vietnam. Either way, you get the point. So, yeah, pretty cool book. And then look at the back cover, too. That's actually a pretty cool look at it as well. It's one of those that has the spread for both sides, which is pretty nice. So yeah, that's Redcoat. I've been enjoying the hell out of this book. Is it the time to jump in? I actually think this would be fine. Maybe 11 would be better, but you'd be fine here at 12. It does a really good job of catching you up on everything, so no real concern there. But yeah, Redcoat has been excellent. This is from the Geiger universe as well. I'm reading literally everything on Geiger Ghost Machine universe. Reading everything in Ghost Machine except for Geiger. It's like the one that I'm not reading, which is like an ongoing series anyways. But all their stuff has really been excellent, I'd say, thus far. So that is Redcoat number 12. And with that, I believe we are done with our books. Let's go and run through them one more time for you guys so you have them top to bottom. So the 10 books we reviewed today was The Ultimates number 12, Absolute Flash number 3, Bug Wars number 4, Incredible Hulk 25, Medieval Spawn number 2, Superior Avengers number 2, Zatanna number 4, Star Wars The High Republic Fear of the Jedi number 4, Iron Man number 8, and Redcoat number 12. Those are the books that we have. Flip over to the main camera here so you can see. And then let's go into those polls for next week. So we're locked and loaded. These next ones are going to come out on the 28th. Flip over my camera to the shared. So last week in May, we have 23 books in total. Lord have mercy. See, this is the stuff of like, I need to cut down and figure this stuff out. It's just way too freaking much. But that's okay. A bunch of good stuff too. So Absolute Martian Manhunter number 3, that's going to be incredible. Look at the cover on that too. Like, man, so incredibly cool. It's just like a rainbowy color coming out for the audio listeners. Absolute Wonder Woman number 8, that's going to be dope. Avengers 26. Batman 160 is going to be a backlog. Bitter Roots, The Next Movement number 3. It's very similar to the Michael B. Jordan movie that's out, Sinners. Bronze Faces number 3. See, that's one where I could potentially drop, and I think we'd be fine to do that. Dark Honor #1, so that's going to be a new series. G.I. Joe #7. Giant Size X-Men #1, so just interested to see what that's all about. That I may just read, but maybe it'll be a backlog as well. I'm not entirely sure. Hornsby and Halo #7. Hyde Street #6. Justice League Unlimited #7. Magic #5. Minor Arcana #7. Minor Arcana has been like nominated for a bunch of Eisners, so I'm actually kind of surprised because it's good, but I don't think it's that good. And Eisners, from what I understand, is like, kind of the Pulitzer, the Tony, the Oscar, or whatever of comics, so that's kind of a big deal. New Champions #5, and that's another one that's like, I could drop that and we would live. Peacekeeper presents the Vigilante Eagerly double feature #3, and that's another one where it's like, it's fine, it's not nearly as good as the other Peacemaker one. The Power Fantasy #9, really good. Rat City 14, I already mentioned, that's one we could drop. Rogue the Savage Land for sure is one that we can drop. It's like, fine, okay. Ultimate Spider-Man #17, that's going to be excellent. Uncanny X-Men #15. Void Rivals #19, and We're Taking Everyone Down With Us #3. Woo! Whole bunch. Whole bunch. The Uncanny, of course, is going to be a backlog as well. I realized I didn't mention that. So I think from there is when we start to taper off. Like, this is probably the last really, really big week that I have. And then after that, it should really smooth out from there. So again, I'll sleep on it a little bit more on whether or not to continue some of this stuff. There are a couple from time to time, like friends will be like, yeah, like that one in particular seemed awesome. I'm thinking about grabbing that. That seems pretty cool and interesting, so on and so forth. So I don't know. I just got to think about it more. But maybe I think it's just more of a me complex of anything of like, dude, you'll live. You'll be all right if you take out some of these books. So let's close this thing out, shall we? Talk about some of the socials where you can find everything at. So, Saturday Morning Comic Review on Instagram is going to be the best place for where I post most of my stuff. TikTok is going to be the Helpful Bailiff. It's usually the same content on either one. Email saturdaymorningcbreview at gmail.com if you are interested on here's what you should change, here's what I want to see more of, here's where you can make improvements, tips, tricks, just things you want to see overall from the show. That's going to be the best place. Other than that, comments in whether it be the audio formats or the visual, that'd be good too. Of course, this podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, really anywhere that you get your podcast and your podcatcher of choice. And then the video, of course, is going to be on YouTube, because what other video platform would it be? But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's going to do it for us. Definitely plan on doing an Omega this week. Hope you guys have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. On Sunday, it's going to be a wild day, but crazy race day. You have Monaco Grand Prix, you have Indy 500, of course, Coca-Cola 600. On the wrestling side of things, we have Double or Nothing, which is a huge pay-per-view. Plan on live streaming that if you want to jump in. It's going to be hosted on YouTube, on the YouTube page where this is featured right now, and you're probably watching this. So, yeah, I think that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I very much appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Go, 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 go.
This has been a DMW production. Thanks for stopping by.